is what you're going to say in accordance with what spirit and what words have already been spoken. And it's interesting that Bob's prayer reflects many points in what is going to be offered to you today. This is an old, yellowed, but well-preserved copy of Barrytown, New York, April 19, 1975, Master Speaks. And it's a little sad that John isn't here because this is one of the topics that he really likes to kind of expound on, is restoration through indemnity. Now, I have two sources of material. One is Father's words, and people become much more familiar with Mother's words. They carry different levels of message. Father's in a position of teaching the truth. But when Mother's speaking, this is her memoir. The memoir is different. It's not a historical documentary type of an account. It's day-to-day personal life viewpoint and feelings about things that are going on. So I thought, okay, we'll offer true parents. Started here. Now you know clearly that we have three kinds of indemnity. Indemnity for ourselves, indemnity for the members, and indemnity for the district. If you're in the position to pay all these indemnifications, so much the better. If it's in your power to drag all the people in your vicinity so much earlier and speedier, you can pay the indemnity. You must try hard to stand in the vanguard of others in everything. If you keep going ahead of others and keep doing that for 3 years or more, then you're sure to get many members, perhaps 300 members or more. Prove it to yourself by your own deeds. It's the wisest way. If you realize that it has to take you at least 3 years to pay off your personal indemnity toll, and 3 years to pay off the indemnity toll for members, and 3 years for the district, and if you want to take the responsibility for all these 3 stages, then you're going to have to condense many of the difficulties into a relatively short period of time. In using your eyes, ears, mouth, nose, you must use them for the sake of the will of God, for the sake of your members, and for the sake of your district. If you're invited to witness to people by a prepared group, then you must fly to that place out of joy and happiness. If you do that unwillingly, that act cannot be counted. If there are people ready to hear you, then you must be eager to go to that place, more concerned than you are concerned with food or water or anything that makes you hungry, or with the clothing that you were or clothing, even if you were naked. If you're doing things this way, all people of your district will cling to you. Like children wanting the breast of their mother, they would always miss you and never want to leave you. And now, do you have a clear notion of what it's like when you want to pay indemnity? If you pay the indemnity, the people of the district and the district itself will belong to you without any doubt. In light of this principle of indemnity, I want you to pray more, and I want you to pay more indemnity so that the duration of the period of indemnity will be shortened, and God will rejoice over what you have done. Then there will be no need for you to pay any more indemnity. You're now placed in the position where you have to pay that indemnity. But if your spiritual power and your spiritual posture is right, then all spirit world, especially the angels' world, will mobilize to help you. They will move the hearts of conscientious people to come to you and help you. Good people in villages will be naturally attracted to you and be willing to help you. Angels too, being spiritual entities, know that they should be helping you and helping those in the angel's position for them to be saved. So they will all be in an all-out effort to help you. I want you to be that kind of person. When you go out to the place of your assignment, you must be able, in your prayers, to call the ancestors of the population of that state or any district, and call the spirits of the people living there. And you can even mobilize the spirits of future generations. They should be indebted to you, so they cannot but help and come and help you. But more than anything else, you must always think of having to pay some amount of indemnity for the people of the village. You must do so and do things in such a way that by the time you have to leave, all the villagers will just cling to you, not wanting you to go, crying and weeping. That is the secret formula in the spirit world. If it is a real formula, it can apply to any situation. Just try it. Apply it over and over and see if God is helping you. Then, while other people want to have you fail in your mission, you will prosper and you will get more members. And you will find yourself being successful, no matter how many people persecute you or oppose your movement, oppose our movement. The more they do that, the more prosperous will be our movement. However hard they may struggle to bar your way, they will end up not being able to stop you from being and doing your job. And God will be victorious through you. If you go on like this, paying the toll of indemnity, willing to do the job, then you'll find yourself in the position of God towards other people around you. Do you clearly understand what I mean? If you are determined to do and live that way, to do the job that way, if you really mean it, I'm not worried about the salvation of this nation. It'll be done and finished at the soonest possible date. That's a long time ago, but True Father hasn't changed very much. Even though in the spiritual world, everything's the same. There are conditions to be fulfilled on every level. And it's moving to me to read Mother's perspective of her daily life and their mission as true parents. Back to where it starts here. I went out to lunch with Bob the other day, and I mentioned this portion. Now I know that you're already doing Hymn and doing readings from this book, and you haven't got to this point yet. A few more days to go. But I thought, okay, I'll give you a little preview of some of the things she has to say. Mom, you're packing your suitcase again? I didn't answer my third daughter, Unjin, right away. My eldest daughter, Yejin, who was beside me and had been silently helping me pack, asked, Mother, where are you going this time? That's the first thing my children would ask when they saw me take out the suitcase and start packing. Children wish for their mother to always be near them, playing with them, embracing them. However, bound by church activities, meeting with people and taking frequent trips, I was away from my children more than I was with them. Taking out my suitcase and packing my things signaled to my children that I was going to begin another mission far from home. Although traveling can be enjoyable, when it's a mission, challenges set in from the moment you leave. Even if you have to stay in a palace, your heart is not at ease. It's not your home. Furthermore, if you're entrusted with a public mission, each step you take is laden with heavy responsibility. For a decade after the Holy Wedding in 1960, I was rarely at home, so I was rarely comfortable. I went around the entire country one day, visiting a small village near the demarcation line with North Korea. Another day journeying to a remote village, taking in the events and sharing time with members. My heart was not able to relax for a single day. In 1969, crossing the ocean to Japan marked the beginning of my life of international tours. I had a demanding schedule, and I arrived in a new city each day. I treated each new land as my own, and the people in each country as my brothers and sisters. Nonetheless, I'd find time to buy postcards, and at the end of the day, though it was often past midnight, I would write letters to my children who were wishing I were at home. And she goes on to describe one of the postcards that she wrote. The fact that I could not spend much quality time with my children due to my various public responsibilities always weighed on my mind. Despite this, my children were very mature for their age and grew up well. Once my eldest son, Hyojin, was interviewed by a newspaper reporter. "What do you respect most about your mother?" he asked. Hyojin answered without any hesitation. "I admire my mother's love and perseverance in embracing my father and making him happy. All mothers in the world are great, but my mother especially absolutely trusts and encourages us. I'm always deeply moved by how she does that. It's really amazing that she gave birth to 14 children, even though she's always so busy with global affairs. Even on the hottest summer days, I will not get into a cold swimming pool. It's because, as I mentioned, I gave birth to many children, 4 of them through C-section. When I was giving birth to our 6th son, Yongjin, I was in danger because his head was so large. My husband was in Germany, and I was told that it would be dangerous for both mother and baby if we did not act within 30 minutes. So I had no choice but to undergo a C-section. Once you've had that, it becomes difficult to give birth naturally. That being so, I prayed with desperate heart. During that prayer, the scene of Jesus' crucifixion came to me. I managed the pain with the resolution that through this new birth of new life, I would overcome the force of death that surrounded Jesus on Calvary, as it is for all women. My giving birth to a new life was an experience of heaven and hell. I did not find it easy to have 4 C-sections, yet each time I gave birth, I was ready to die for the sake of God and for the sake of a new life. Let me get myself back together. Can I have a tissue? Yeah, I'm sorry, that's going out on national news. Walmart doing his cheer thing. All of us, in one way or another, we've traveled and we've visited many different places. Some members, maybe more than others. For a lot of our difficulties, we refer to not just being sent to other countries as a foreign mission, but MFT comes up a lot. And during the course of building years and the persecution years in the 70s and so on in the United States, when I would go into bars, fundraise, it's an interesting thing that you'll see old guys kind of clustered together. Sometimes they talk about farming or about sports, but if you ever see any military people together, no matter what age they were ever in service, the one common topic that comes up with jokes and misery is boot camp. And so through the years of doing MFT and so on, came to realize that Father was sending us through a boot camp. That we had to learn how to overcome our own problems, how to negotiate problems with other people, whether they liked or disliked us, liked the product, or tried to kick us out or arrest us, it didn't matter. We were being taught how to take care of ourselves spiritually and to persevere and to find ways to succeed. So that many of us who got sent to other countries, whether it be for conditional time periods like 21 days or 40 days, or some who went for years, we had a foundation in learning how to care for ourselves physically and spiritually in a lot of different ways. So when I'm reading, particularly the testimony of True Mother, the beginning of the book sets with the foundation for being begotten daughter of God. As it goes through the historical background a little bit, and it becomes more and more our own story. And we've seen, wherever we've been, whatever we've been doing, Mother would appear, she would speak, she would be at a place. But it's really hard to think about what is happening between these moments of public presence from one place to another. For me, when I was traveling places, I didn't think about anything except, well, what are we going to do next? And what's to eat? When can I sleep? But when Mother is traveling, she's thinking about members and trying to imagine what she can do to take part in her plan and Father's plan in saving the world. So reading this opens up a whole new world of viewpoint on the basis of, I've experienced many of these things, but where was I at the time, and what did it actually mean? And I think as any professional person or soldier, you're focused on your goal, and you don't think about what's happening to you in between, how you're developing, how you're learning, how you're struggling. And it's an accumulation that brings a result. So Mother's life has been an accumulation of all these things, but we seldom get to see or feel it or understand it from her heart perspective. So that's why that's why I think this book is particularly important in this time. Ways in which we can support your mother are not just in our mission, but in changing our heart to love more. So we've all heard stories of early members and their sacrifices for their family and so on. But it's a kind of a superficial understanding. But when you hear a mother trying to describe what it felt like, it takes on a new relevance. So and to take on a new relevance in our life of prayer, life of relationship to others. Matthew 5:47. If you greet your brethren only, what do you more than others? So, in a sense, it's been hard for our church to really accept Christian community because we've received so much rejection by Christian community through our history. Now another phase is opening up, and we're reaching out to them, and we're finding that we're able to multiply the power of our love, principle, activities in the community by not just thinking about what is our goal, but what is the overall goal for world peace is to mobilize lots and lots of people. Ultimately, as our heart is expressed and these people come to look on us with favor, then we can slowly introduce the principle by action, by love, and then as they wonder what makes you like this, what gives you this energy, you can go beyond the love of Jesus to the love of true parents, which is not much different. Jesus said that he came to fulfill the law, and that's what your parents have done. Jesus came to fulfill the law of the Old Testament. Your parents have come to fulfill the law of the New Testament into the completed Testament. At least this is my perspective. And so I think we need to align ourselves with that and go beyond fulfilling our own small church goals and start looking towards fulfilling True Parents' world goals, and starting with our community going out. By meeting our other churches and getting other ministers to unite and generate power, we're able to multiply ourselves as well. So, at least in my opinion, I think that's where we're headed. And that's why it's important for us to be able to teach principle, not just conceptually, but kind of the letter of the law. And let true Father and true Heavenly Father speak through the principle with our voice and our heart. So continue with Linda Kay, morning meeting, and so on. Sometimes I'm there, mostly not. I'll work in the background. But, thank you very much. Join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parents, we find ourselves constantly trying to reach higher. We have many blockages in our own hearts, in our own minds. Who are we? What value do we have? And we have a lot of diminishing circumstances around us that won't allow us to many times do what we want to do. We have to find ways around that or through that obstacle. Obstacles of heart, obstacles of mind. We want to be able to fulfill your will. We want to be able to offer ourselves as part of the restoration indemnity to recreate mankind.
Yes.
We thank you, Heavenly Parent, for guiding us with true parents, guiding us with principle, and guiding us with the love and concern of our brothers and sisters around us. Just thank you so much. We offer a prayer, our lives, and our actions to you, and holy in the names of our beloved true parents of heaven, earth, and mankind. As Mark and Ann Wilson and all those families here,